Okay, good evening, all. Welcome to this session fourth of the training session. And as yesterday we had seen some basic commands like mkdir, touch, then cd, ls. Moving on this session about the basic command, we are going to see some extra basic commands. So today's first command which we are going to see, that is the cp command, basically to copy the data from a Linux system. Okay, so what command is? Command is a cp. Okay, after giving this command, you have to mention the source in the sense exactly what you need to copy, which file, which directory, and also its location as well in the source. Suppose if you want to copy the file from etc, you have to mention the source slash etc slash passwd or anything else. So once you have mentioned the source, then you have to set the destination where you need to paste that file. Suppose slash home, you need to paste that file inside of slash home, then the destination would be slash home. For example, let me give the same command with the example cp. We want to copy the file from slash etc, and the file name is passwd, and the destination would be slash home or slash home slash user, whatever it is. So in this way, you can copy any file or directory, okay, from the source to destination. Then let me show you this command quickly on a terminal. Here I have one terminal. Uh, I hope my screen is visible to you. If yes, please let me know in a chat box. So now I have the one file called as test, and I want to move, copy this file, not move, sorry, only copy this file to the destination, whatever I need, like slash home, slash whatever the user I have, on even the desktop. Okay. So in this command, cp is working as a command. Then the source, what we need to copy, or the file name, directory name, and then the destination where you need to paste that file. Okay, so this command is working like this: cp space source space destination. And then if you want, you can check that same file on the particular destination. We have copied the file test. Okay, so test file is here. Now in this same way, I'm going to remove the file. Second command which we need to understand, that is the move. So by using move command, we can either move the file, that is a cut and paste, or we can rename the file as well with the same command. Either we can use this command to move the file from one location to another location, either we can rename the file as well with the same command. So come to the terminal again. For example, I have to move the file. Recently we have copied that file at slash home slash user, then desktop, and the file was test. Now I want this file, okay, to move into the user, and the directory which we have created, it is world. So this time move command will move the file which is located at slash home slash jacob slash desktop, and the file name is a test. That file will be moved to the world directory. So there's a small difference between cp and move. Cp will be the copy the file, but the file will remain same on a both the location. And if we're going to use the move command, it will work as just a cut and paste. Okay, so this time the file is will be cut it from this location from home from slash checkout desktop, and it will be the paste at this location. So now we can check this file. It has been moved. So move command, as I told you, we can use the move command, mv command, into the two different ways. One is to move the file, another one is to rename the file. Now, let me show you how we can rename the file. Okay, I have the file called as test. Now I'm going to rename that file. Okay, by using same command move. So give the first file name which you need to rename. Okay, the previous name was the file was a test, and by giving the new name, okay, you can simply rename the file. Now I am going to rename the file as a file one. So command is mv, the old name of the file and the new name which you need to rename that file. The, now this time file has been renamed with the file one. Same you can rename any file from any location. Just you need to give the old name and the new name for that file. So this mv command we can use in a two different way, either to move the file, either to rename the file. Now let's see whatever the Linux machine we have, okay, and first of all, any new machine whenever we are handling, we are operating with the new machine, we should check the hardware configuration of that system, just to check exactly what is the hardware, what are the, like, there are three different factors in hardware. We should aware about that. Any new computer, new Linux systems, okay. So which three factor we need to check? First is the processor, which we should check. Second, memory or a RAM, we should check. And the third important factor about this hardware configuration is the storage. These three things are important for every administrator. Whenever you are going to deal with a new computer, you should check these three factors. So it's quite easy in Windows how to check the processor name and memory by using the property of your my computer, this PC. And for storage, we can go with the this PC, or from the disk management, we can check the storage. Now let's see in a Linux how we can check these three things for the processor. Now we have the command. Command is the cat to check any file. Okay, command is a cat, and the file for processor, it is located at slash proc slash cpu info. This file you will get in every Linux system. Okay, the location is slash proc and the file name is cpu info, and we are going to export that file by using cat command. It will show you the entire processor information in the Linux system. Let's check the processor by using the same command, cat space, the directory name is a proc, and the file name is cpu info. So if you see the output of this file from the start, it will show you the entire processor details. The file was started over here. So processor 0, the manufacturer or make as of the general Intel, and the model name which processor we are using. Basically, we are using Intel Core i7 with the 4th generation. So in this same command, we can also check one more thing. Okay. I cannot see Vasusa's request to the time. Let's wait for 1 minute. Fine. Once he will be there, we'll allow him to join. So the command is cat space slash proc slash cpu info. Okay, we can find out the processor model number which we are using. Probably if you are going to see this same command on a server, you may find the processor developed by Intel, but not with the core series. On server, probably you will see the Xeon processor, because the Xeon is a dedicated processor series developed for the servers. So one more thing is here about processor core count. Core are the logical processor of the processor. Basically, in every computer, you will find out one processor chip, but one processor, physical processor with a multiple logical processor. So here is the count of processor, logical processor as well. Processor 0. If you scroll down, you can find out the next one, processor 1, then the processor 2, and how much number I have. It will come to the last of the file. Last processor was the processor 7. So including 0, my Intel Core i7 having the 8 logical processor, okay, or a core, 8 core with my processor I have. So this is how we can check the processor name, okay, on any Linux computer. So for processor, command was cat space slash proc slash CPU info. Now moving ahead, next factor of hardware we are going to check, it is memory or a RAM. So for that the command is free space hyphen G or free space hyphen M also we can use. Okay, G to check memory in a GB unit, M to check in megabyte unit, MB unit. So both we can use. Let's see this command how it will show, how it will see like on terminal. Now I'm going to fire the command free space hyphen G. So once we fire this command, it will show you the total RAM or memory. Okay, approximately I am having the 16 GB RAM on my computer, and use memory. Right now, my computer is occupying the 2 GB RAM and free is a 9 GB average. So same command you can use with a different option like hyphen M to get the same result in a megabyte. For example, I'm having the 15,000 MB, okay, average it's a 16 GB, and 2,500 something is being used. That means 2 GB RAM is occupied already. So in M and or even with the G, we can check the RAM of any Linux computer. The command is free space hyphen M or free space hyphen G. So this is how we can check the RAM of a Linux computer. Next factor we are going to check, that is the storage of the computer. For checking the storage, command is fdisk. Fdisk is a individual utility to manage the storage devices as well. Fdisk space hyphen L we need to assign. Fdisk space hyphen. By using this command, we can check our storage devices or storage disk, whatever available with our Linux system. So now see the output of this command, fdisk space hyphen L. Okay, basically fdisk is a storage utility. Then we can check here the disk. Disk has a different label. Label is /dev/sda. This is the label which is assigned to the Linux disk, and the capacity is 465 GB. So I'm having that 500 GB SSD. Okay, with my laptop. If you are having the two or more than that disk with the same computer, okay, so it may show you the first disk as a /dev/sda. Second disk will show you /dev/sdb. If you have 3 disks, it will show you /dev/sda, sdb, sdc in that way. So alphabet will be changed. So currently I'm having only one single disk, hence it is showing /dev/sda. If I'm going to connect the USB drive with this, the drive label will get /dev/sdb. So this is how we can check with the storage device or a storage on a Linux computer. The third or the fourth factor of the hardware, again one more thing, we should also check the operating system detail or the version which or Linux machine have. So for that purpose, again we are going to use the cat command, cat, and the file is /etc/os-release. This is the file in which we can get the Linux operating system and its version. So command is a very basic command, cat, but we need to know the file. It is inside of /etc and the file name is os release. So in that file we can find out the more detail about the operating system. So currently I'm using the Kali Linux operating system version 2023.4. So this file you will get in every Linux distributions like Ubuntu, like uh, CentOS and the Red Hat as well. Because Linux architecture is the same with every Linux operating systems. So these are the four major factors. Okay, you should check by before using any Linux computer, so that you will aware about the what exactly the hardware specifications are there, and then only you can troubleshoot if the problem is there. So CP command was to copy the data from source to destination. Source location you have to mention, destination location also you have to mention. Move command, basically we can use the move command for the two different purposes. One is to move the data from one location to another location, and to rename the file or directory as well. And for hardware configuration check, we had seen these four different commands. First, cat space /proc /cpu info to check the processor information. Free space -g to check the memory in a gigabyte. Free space -m to check the memory or RAM in a megabyte. And fd space -l to check the storage. And then cat space /etc/os release to get the operating system detail with the version and all. Now, uh, let's start one virtual machine so that we can see some different commands to use the Linux operating system. So now one more thing which we are going to discuss, okay, it is the remote, which is a most important activity with every administrator, remote and especially in Linux. So I hope you all are aware about the SSH service. Okay, SSH, it is a secure shell which is having the port number of 22. So this service will allow you to take remote access of any Linux system. Okay, but just the thing is, first you need to restart this service. Okay, as in Linux, if we had seen the services window from the administrative tool, so we will get the different kind of services in Windows. We need to restart, we need to stop, we need to start the service according to our use. In that same way, we need to restart the SSH service, or basically the service should be in start mode. For that purpose, we need to fire the command in Linux. It is systemctl space restart space service SSH. Sometimes the service will be the SSH, or sometimes the service will be SSHD. It is depend whether you are using the proprietary SSH protocol or open SSH protocol. So once you give this command by using this command, again you can check the status of that same service. Okay, status of SSH. So again, command will be the same, systemctl space status space SSH or SSHD, whatever it is. So once you will check the status, you will come to know that service is in active mode. Then you can take the remote access of the Linux system. Now let me show you the same thing. Okay, what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss about the remote activity in Linux system. So we have one virtual system, and let's open the terminal here. So the command is systemctl space restart space ssh, and then you have to check the status of that SSH service. Okay, status of the SSH. You can see SSH service is in active mode and it is running. So if it is running, then only you can take the remote of this Linux system. Now let me show you one more thing. As just before 2 minutes, we had checked the OS operating system of this machine so that you can relate. This is the Ubuntu version 21.4. Okay, so we are going to take remote of the Ubuntu from the another system. So for that purpose, we should aware about the IP address as well. We have to check the IP address from terminal. The command is IP space A to check the IP address of that system. And we can check here the IP address of this Ubuntu system is 192.168.3.42. Now come to the another machine. This is my Kali operating system, and from Kali I'm going to take the remote of that system. Okay, so to take the remote, we need to use the command. Okay, command will be very simple again. It is SSH space username. You have to mention by which user you are going to take the remote of that Linux system. Then at the rate and IP address of the destination system, 3.40 or whatever it is. So SSH is the command to take the remote access space username. We need to mention of the system, which system we need to remote access via remotely. So let me check once again what was the IP address of the system. 192.168.3.42, and the user on this system is a Vinu. Okay, so now I'm going to take a remote from the Kali. Username was Vinu. At the rate IP address was 192.168.3.42. So it will ask you basically you need to connect with the fingerprint, yes or no. Just simply give yes. It will ask you the password of that user. Simply give the password and see we got the remote access of this Ubuntu system. The user is a Vinu, host name is a server one. Same thing we can check here on a terminal. User is a Vinu and host name is a server one. If we check the another terminal, we can see here we are having a different user with a different host name. This is my basically local system which I'm using, and this is the remote of the Ubuntu system which we had taken. We can check the OS detail as well just to cross check. So here is our Ubuntu system which we are using, or by which we have taken the remote access, and the first operating system, the physical operating system was, it is Kali. Okay, so this is the way we can take the remote access of any Linux system. Just the SSH service should be in an active mode, or in Ubuntu we use the only SSH service. Sometimes you may have to use the SSHD service as well, depends on if you're using the open SSH service. In that case, you have to use SSHD service. So SSH service is being used to take the remote access of any Linux system. Okay, parallel to that, there is one more service called as SCP. It is the secure copy. So what secure copy is, if you want to copy the data or a file from one Linux system to another Linux system, we can use this command SCP. So syntax of SCP will be again very simple. Okay, just give the command SCP secure copy. Okay, then what data you need to copy from the source system, source. Okay, for example, you need to copy the data from /home. You can mention here /home. Okay, and then destination. For the destination, you have to mention first of all username. For example, I'm going to mention the username at the rate IP address of the remote system where you need to paste the data. It is 3.42, and then you have to mention the location where you need to copy that file, for example, /home/vino user. Let me again explain in a short. SCP, it is a secure copy. This command is used to copy the data over the network from one system to another system. Like previously we have discussed about the CP command. Copy command was there, but copy command just to copy the data on the same system. Here we are trying to copy the data from one system to another system over the network. Hence we are using the SCP service, SCP, secure copy. So for SCP also you need to run the SSH, okay, by using same command. And once SSH service is in active mode, then you can go with this command, secure copy, SCP space source, what you need to copy from which location, and for the destination, give the username and the IP address of the remote system, path where you need to paste that data. Now let me show you this is same thing, okay, on the Linux system. Here I am on my Linux system and we have the directory called as world and the file name is new file. Okay, I need to move this new file from the Linux system or Kali system to the Ubuntu system here. Okay, so look at the command now. Command is scp secure copy space -r we are using. The -r is for the recursive. SCP space -r. Now just mention the file name. File name is the new file. Okay, new file. This is the source. Okay, we are going to secure copy this file, new file. Okay, now the destination. For the destination, I have to use the username first. It is Vino for the Ubuntu system, and the IP address of Ubuntu system is 3.42. Paste colon. You have to mention the path where you need to paste that file inside of /home/vino. Just hit the enter. It will ask you the password of that remote system. Give the password and see your new file has been copied from source to destination. Now come to the Ubuntu system and let's check whether we have received the new file or not. Okay, so we can check on Ubuntu. We have received a new file. Okay, now I'm removing this file with the Linux system. Now let's try to copy the file from Ubuntu system to the Kali Linux system. Okay, so again same command I'm going to use scp secure copy space -r. The file name is new file. This time I have to give the detail of the Kali machine system. So username is basically there Jacob. At the rate, I need to check the IP address of the Kali system. That means check with IP space A. IP address of this system is 192.168.3.5. 3.5. 192.168.3.5 and colon path. Path for the file would be /home/Jacob. And let's copy that file on the desktop. Jacob's desktop. Okay, so scp secure copy space -r. This is command. New file we are going to move from Ubuntu system on 192.168.3.5 with the Jacob user on the location of /home/Jacob/desktop. That's hit the enter, and I got the error. Error is SSH connection to host 192.168.3.5 on a 22 port 22 connection. That means my port 22 has been closed on the Kali Linux system. So for that purpose, on a Kali system, we need to restart the SSH service as I explained previously. System CTS restart SSH. And let's check the status of that service as well. So SSH service is in active mode now. Let's try once again with the same activity. we are going to copy new file with jacob user on 192.168.3.5 on the location of /home/jacob on a desktop. This time we got the prompt yes or no. Just hit the yes. It is asking me the password of that jacob user. I have given the password and see the file has been transferred. Okay. Now let's come to the Linux system and on a jacob users we need to go on a desktop and let's see here new file is here. So this is how we can copy the file from any Linux system to the another Linux system by using SCP command, secure copy. So here are the two different activities. One is the SSH to take the remote access, okay, of any Linux system, and SCP to share the data or copy the data from one system to another system. But for both activities, SSH service is or SSH service should be in active mode. For that purpose, we need to use these two different commands. One is systemctl space restart SSH, and one is the status, just to check the status whether service is running or not. Okay. Now, moving ahead and to the same Linux system. Now we need to understand about the most important topic for the administrators. It is user management in Linux program. In Windows, it's quite easy because just because of the graphics, we can create the multiple users, we can reset the password. So in Linux, now we'll see how to check the user, how to create the user, how to modify user, group, and many more things. So before starting this topic of the user management, let me tell you, basically there are two different files which we need to deal in a Linux. The first file is called as /etc/passwd. The file name is passwd, and another file is also located at etc. The file name is group. So the user configuration file, basically this etc passwd file is considered as a user config file. So if you check this file, you will get the details about the users which are exist in the Linux system, and this second group file will show you the group information in a Linux. So first of all, let's take a look into these two different files. One is the passwd file, another one is a group file. So I'm checking on a Linux system on a Ubuntu. So we have the command already, right? Cat space /etc/passwd. Passwd, this is a user configuration file, and let's see, we got a very huge result of that file. So we have had the command from here, etc passwd with the cat. First line was the root as it is by default and a super user of Linux system. Then there are multiple users, daemon, bean, c, sync, games. These all are the users. And finally, in last, if you check, you will get one more user, Vinu, by which we had logged in right now, okay, on our Linux system. So whenever you are going to create the new user in a Linux system, that user will be added at the last of this file. The file is /etc/passwd. In the same way, one more file is there, /etc/group. This file will show us the groups which are existed on a Linux system. Also, here is the list number of groups. So command was here /cat space /etc/group. So now let's understand, whenever we are going to create, okay, any new user in a Linux system, it creates its primary group as well. Primary group by itself. Suppose I'm going to create user John, it will create its primary group called as a John. Okay. Uh, okay. Now let's see the command to create the user so that you will get a better idea about the user and groups as well. I'm going to give the simple command. The command is user add space John. It will create the John user immediately, and we can check the entry of John user in the passwd file. At that same time, you can check the group file. You will find one group again by the same name. So this command, this is a command to create the user. Okay, user creation. Now come to the terminal and let's see. Command is user add space John. Just hit the enter. If you are not getting any error, that means your command has been fired successfully. Okay. So now let's check this user, John. Okay. But this time I'm not going to give the cat command. Okay. Instead of that, if you remember yesterday, we had discussed about some basic command. There was a command called as tail. Tail. By using tail command, we can check the last 10 lines of that file. So I'm going to use that file effectively now. Tail space slash etc slash passwd so that we can see the last 10 lines of passwd file and see the result is here. And last line of that file is a John, the user which we have created recently, John user. File is a passwd. In the passwd file, we can see or we can check the all users, okay, whatever we have created on the Linux system. Now, with the same, let's check the group file as well. We have not created group by the name of John, but still in a group, we are getting the one more group. It is a John group by itself. So this is the by default or primary group of the John user. Every user, whenever you are going to create the new user, it will create its primary group by itself. So this was how we can create the user. Command is very simple. User add space John. Now let's set the password for this user. Again, the command is very simple. Command is passwd space John, and you can set the password to the John user. Command is passwd space John. I'm going to set the password to John user. Keep this note, while typing the password in Linux, even it will not show you in form of the dot and all, just for the security reason. In Windows, whenever we are typing the password, it may show you the star or the dot. Okay, but in Linux, whenever you're going to type the password, it will be completely invisible. So now the password updated successfully, John user. Okay, so this is a command to set the password to the any user. The command is passwd, and you have to mention the user for which user you are going to set the password. So now once we have created the user, then we have set the password to that user. Now let's see by using command line how to log in the user. So for the purpose, command is su, that is switch user space hyphen space username, which user you need to log in. Command is su for switch user space hyphen space username. So let's see this command on a Linux system. Here is, I'm going to log in with the John user, su space hyphen space John user. You see, I have logged in directly on a John user. Even it had not asked me the password for the John user, okay, because first I was logging with the root user, super user. So keep this note as well. If you are a root, you are having the full permission of the operating system Linux, and like for anything, for the user login, to change the directory or copy the data for any task, it will never ask to the password of any user if you are the root. So from root, when we had tried to log in with the John, okay, without password, we had logged in with the John user. Now how to check the username? Even we are not getting the proper syntax of the terminal like the root. In the root terminal, it was clearly mentioned we are root, then hash was there. Okay. Now let's see how to check the username or which user we have logged in. So there is one more command now we are going to explore. The command is who am I. This is a very simple command. It will show you by which user we have logged in. Okay, the command is who am I. So we are the John. Now we are logged in with a John user. So next command you can check even the standard user or a root user. The command is who am I. By using this command, you can check the logged in user. So user add to add the user, passwd to set the password to that particular user, su switch user to log in with the different user, and who am I to check the user log user which it is. Once you need to log out from any user, okay, simply you can give the command exit from the terminal to exit or to log out from that user. For example, now I'm logging with the John. I'm going to exit. Okay. Once I will exit from here, we'll back to the root user again. Okay. So this is how we can create the several users. Okay, by using a simple command, user add space John, Harry, Susan, Natasha, whatever it is. And every user, whenever you are going to add a user, you can check the entry by tail command or cat command in the password file. So you can find out the last entry of newly created user. Now, in this same user management, okay, let's move towards the next step of the user management. Or before that, again, we need to understand this file, passwd file. Okay. Now, what are the files? I'm going to explore the first line of this file only, okay, by using head space -1. If you remember, in last session, we have discussed about the head command to check the top line, head space -1. That means I'm going to explore just only top one line with this file, okay, password, and it should be the root only. So we need to understand, okay, the syntax of this file or the different fields in that file in every line. So this is the first line of that file passwd, and we need to understand every field what exactly it is saying so that we can understand the user setting in a depth. So file is passwd, okay, and here are basically 7 field. Okay, let me mention the field. Every field is separated by colon. Okay, then here is like this 0 0 1 2 3 4, then root should be there, fifth field, then slash root and slash, sorry, not slash, here should be the colon again, slash bin slash bash. So these are the 7 field of this file passwd. That means every user you will get with the same syntax with the 7 fields. Like root is here. Let me show you the John as well. Tail space -1 space slash etc slash passwd. We can find out the same field for the John as well. Okay, but the values are the different. So we need to understand those value. File is passwd. Let's understand what first field is saying. First field is about username. Okay, as it's clearly mentioned, the first root is a username. Second, in the column, okay, there is a value called as x. It is the basically encrypted password of that user, encrypted password. So we cannot see the password over here. Okay, it is an encrypted password. I will tell you later. There is one particular dedicated file to store the password in Linux as well as a SAM file in Windows. Here is a shadow file inside of etc. We'll discuss it about later. So this is second field. It is encrypted password of this user. First is a username. Second field is about the encrypted password. Third field is about the UID. It is user ID. The number, third field, it is about UID. So we can understand, we can log in the user, we can read the user by its name, but system cannot understand the other languages, right? System can understand only numbers. So user will be assigned by the unique one ID, and that ID will call as a UID, user ID. In that same way, the fourth field it indicating the GID, group ID of that user. Now, the user is not a member of the any other group, and it is the group member of the its primary group as well. Hence, the both numbers are same here, UID and GID, because the root user is by default member of its group of the itself only. Okay, so hence UID and GID. So fourth field was GID. Next field, fifth field, it is showing again the root. So it is the comment. Okay, or sometimes people call it as a real name of the user as well. So we can mention the real name of the user over here. Sometimes here is the John. Sometimes John user will call as some different name JH or whatever. So it is the comment or the real name of that user. Fifth field. Then the sixth field, the about that user's home directory. Okay, once that user will be logging, I hope you remembered in the first session we had discussed about the uh, file architecture, and inside of the file architecture we have mentioned the slash root. What slash root is? The root user's home directory. So in the sixth field we can find out the home directory of that user. Root user's home directory is the slash root, and the last seventh field is about the login shell. Login shell. So login shell is a bean bash. We'll discuss about the login shell in the next session. What exactly the login shells are and what kind of different shells are available with the Linux. Just now, as of now, we need to understand the seven field. Let me recall again. First field is a username. Second field is the encrypted password. Third field is a UID. Fourth field is a GID. Fifth field is a comment or the real name. It may be blank sometimes, okay, as in compared with the another user, you will find out the fifth field as a blank. Then the sixth field about the home directory, and seventh field about the login shell. Now let's see the same result with another user. Okay, we have the both result. One is the about the root user, and here is the John result as well. So first field is the username. Username is John. Second field is the encrypted password. It is again showing the in case of X. Third field UID of the John user. It is 1001. Same the GID also same 1001. Now you can see at the fifth field, in the case of root, fifth field was the mention root, real name or comment. In case of John, it is empty. Okay, the columns are empty. That means fifth field has not mentioned while creating the John user. Then the sixth field is about the home directory of the John user. See, home directory is of the standard users are always inside of slash home as per the file architecture. Slash home slash John. And the last field of the login shell, John user is having the login shell called as slash bin slash sh. So again, root was having the bin bash shell. John is having the bin sh shell. So shell will discuss separately. Okay, what exactly the shell is and what kind of the shell types are there. But just try to understand this seven field. Now let me explore the file cat space slash etc slash passwd again, entire file, and whatever the users are here. For example, open LDAP, username, encrypted password, UID, GID, then the real name or the comment we can say. Okay, then its home directory, and then finally login shell. So, but here is a difference. Okay, whatever user we are looking here, these all are the system user. These users cannot log in on a computer. Every user has some different responsibilities. So, login users, whenever we are going to create the users like John, Harry, okay, we can get those users at the bottom of the file. And whenever we will understand about the shell concept, then only we can understand what exactly or which users can log in on this Linux system or depend on the shell as a shell. Sometimes you can find out the no login shell. So it is clearly mentioned this user cannot log in because it is having the no login shell. So we'll understand the shell concepts in coming sessions. So hope you are clear with this file. File name is a passwd, and basically the path of that file is /etc/passwd. And in that passwd field, here are the 7 fields, and every field gives you the different detail about the user in this way. Okay. Now once this we have checked this file, let's try to create few more users. Okay, I'm going to create the user add space Harry user this time. Okay, and again some different user like Natasha I'm going to create, and Susan I'm going to create. So total now we have created the 4 user. Let's check with the tail command, tail space -5 space /etc/passwd, and we can find out the last created users, including John, Harry, Natasha, and Susan as well. Here are these 4 to 5 users. So every user entry will get the at end of this passwd file. But at the same time, as I told you, let's have a look into the group file, etc group. You should also get the same name of the group. I'm going to explore the 5 last lines only of the group file, then space /etc/group. So again, the primary group of John, Harry, Natasha, and Susan are there. Okay. Now let me show you. So what if we want to create the group? Okay. So group are primary group. Okay. While creating the user, primary groups are automatically will be created, and secondary group whenever we are going to create the group. Primary group by the user like John, Harry. Okay. And these are the primary groups, and secondary group as per our requirement we can create HR, IT, sales as per our requirement. So let's create the group now. As to create the user, command was user add and username. To creating the group, command is group add space group name, group add space IT, group add space HR, group add space sales, and many more. And let's check with the tail command, tail space -5 space /etc/group. You can find out the recently created groups, IT, HR, and sales as well. So we can create the secondary group as per our requirement. And as you all are the experienced, so hope you are clear about the use of the group, what it is. By putting the users in a group, we can manage the thousand of users from the one single group. We can implement the settings, we can implement the policies on the group. So individually implementing the policies to the user, it will be very hectic. Hence, we can use the group. So this is how we can create the group. The command is group add and group name, whatever it is. Group add and group name. Now let's see. Once we have the group, okay. For example, ID, and we have the user called as John. Then Harry was there also, Natasha, and Susan. And for example, we have the IT and HR. Now I need to add user Natasha into the HR group. Susan also we need to add in HR group. John and Harry are going to become the member of IT group. So basically point is how to add user into the group. Okay, how to add user into the group. So for that purpose, after user add command, we are going to take a look in a different command, that is user mod command. User mod. So basically it is user modification. Again, user mod command having a different options. Okay. So user mod space -G we are using. User mod space -G. Okay. To change the group of the user. User mod space -G space. Mention the group name here. For example, IT, and mention the username here, which user you need to add. For example, John. So John will be moved into the IT group. So command is user mod space hyphen G space group name. You have to mention IT and you have to move John user in that group. Done. In that same way, I'm going to add the Harry user as well into the IT group. Then I'm going to add in HR to Natasha and also Susan. So command was user mod space hyphen G option we have used. Then the group name and then the username. Now the question is how to check whether this user has been added into this group or not. So for the group purpose, group information, we have the file called as /etc/group. Let's check this file in a Linux system now. I'm using the tailspace hyphen file just to check the last 5 lines in etc group file and see, we can clearly see that IT group, okay, has the two member. One is John and Harry. HR having the two member Natasha and Suzanne. So this is how we can add the users in a group. The command was user mod, that user modification space hyphen capital G we have used to for the group purpose, moving the group name we have to mention HR and finally the username. So we can change the group several times. Just only we need to give the different group name. Suppose the Susan is a member of HR now. What if I will change the group with the IT? Now Susan become the member of IT group. Let's cross check once again. See the Susan group, Susan user has been moved to the IT group this time. So in this same way, we can add the users in a different group, whatever it is. Fine. So today we have seen the user creation, group creation as well. Before that, we have checked to some basic commands like a cp to copy the data, mv to move or rename the file or directory. Then we have checked the hardware config as well. And then we came to the user management and group management. So that's it for the today. Hope you understood the concept. Hope you enjoyed the session as well. So still you have any doubt, queries or questions, you can feel free to ask me, or you can put your doubts on a group as well. We have the groups created for that purpose. So I'm going to stop the screen. If you have any question, queries, you can put it on a groups. So till the time, thank you very much for giving valuable time. Have a great day on